Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to another in-depth review for Marvel Strike Force. Now, nice simple character to cover tonight. We will be having a look at Drax the Destroyer. This is a character I've had quite a fair few amount of requests for. Now, in the video, we will start off by looking at a general overview, and this includes where you go to unlock him and also what tags he has. We then follow that up by having a look at his stats. We'll then check out his abilities. Next up we check out his synergies, and then finally we see where he places in the tier list as well. So first off, we'll start off with the general overview. So in the short time that Strike Force has been out, Drax has really had a bit of a roller coaster ride. He's went from being exceptionally strong to near enough trash tier to back up to being exceptionally strong again, if that's not a bit of a spoiler for the tier section that we will eventually get to. Now, if you look at where you go to farm him, it's currently the arena, so if you can place round about, I think it's the top 500 or so, you'll get enough to get 5 shards for him daily, so it can be a bit of a slow farm, but it is most definitely worth it. If we look at the tags he has, it's Hero, Cosmic, Bio, Protector and Guardian. The important ones there are Cosmic for that campaign, and then Guardian because we do have quite a few synergies with the other Guardians of the Galaxy members, and that's something we'll look at when we do get to the synergies section. But what we'll check out next in the video is we'll have a quick look at his stats. For the stats here then, we look at 6 in total. We've got 3 offensive stats and 3 defensive stats, and we rate these on a scale of A to F. Now, we have come up with this scale as I looked at all the stats, maximum and minimum, removed any outliers, and then the difference between the minimum and the maximum, I broke that down to the 6 different scales there. Now, the first set of stats that we do look at will be the offensive stats. For the offensive stats then, Drax doesn't fare too well, but that generally is the case when we do look at the Protector classes. His damage is D. Would be nice if this is higher because he does have a drain mechanic where a portion of the damage he does he can get back his health, but D is decent. He's kind of middle of the pack with that. His speed is F, and he's just slightly above Hulk when it comes to speed, and if we think back to the in-depth review for him, that can be slightly problematic if a Protector class is too slow, but it is something we'll discuss as the video goes on, ways around this. And then finally his focus is F, but this isn't relevant at all because he's not applying any kind of debuffs there. But next up we will check out his defensive stats. Defense wise, as you would expect, he fares much better, and this is really where he comes into his own. So his health is way up at A, and he has a huge health pool. His armour is B. One thing that does let him down a little bit is his resistance is down at F, so that means he will be more susceptible to debuffs such as stuns and slow, and with his low attack speed that can cause him problems. Now, also in his kit he actually has defense up as well on his taunt, and that can be up for 2 turns, and he's got drain, which is an interesting mechanic that we'll look at a bit more when we check out the abilities, and the abilities section is actually the one we'll check out now. For the abilities then, we look at the basic, special, ultimate and also passive. Now when I bring up each of these, I'll show off a tooltip that lets you know how the skill would look when it is maxed out, but what I'll do, I'll actually let you know if it's worthwhile maxing out that particular skill as well, because some you want to stop a bit shorter because it can cost a lot of materials to upgrade them when it gets to higher levels, and you don't actually see great gains in some occasions, so I will mention that. Now the first one we look at, that's the passive, which is Destroyer, and this is the one that really makes Drax unique. So on spawn you gain taunt, which is great because we've got his slow attack speed and it can take him an age to get the taunt up otherwise, so he gets that at the start of a fight. And also if you're to max this out, you would get a 20% increase to drain, so that means that when you attack you get 20% of health back for that particular attack. Now with this, if you want to go all in with Drax, of course max it, but if not, because he's not attacking as often, because he is slow, you can get away with leaving this a little bit in the lower side around about level 3 or level 4, so that is something to bear in mind there. For the basic, we have a nice simple single target skill here. This is Knife Slash. So maxed out, you attack the primary target for 250% damage, and it has 30% drain on it. Now if you were to take this up to level 5, you keep the 30% drain and the damage drops down to 190%. So for the fact that he's not a character that's there to really do damage and he won't be attacking too often, you can get away with keeping this particular ability at level 5 if you're trying to conserve some materials. For the special, we have a skill that works exceptionally well alongside his passive. So with the passive, you're starting a battle with that taunt. Now if that gets cleansed, then if he was a character like Hulk, once his taunt is cleansed, he's so slow he's in trouble. But the difference with Drax is he actually comes with this skill here. It's called Fast Reflexes, and it takes 4 charges, but it actually starts with 4 charges. So you've got your taunt. If that's cleansed, if it runs out, you can instantly cast this. It'll give you taunt, gives you up to 2 counter at max level, and also defense up for 1 to 2 turns as well. Now in regards to how far you want to go with maxing this out, I would say take this particular one to level 6, because the only difference in it is that you'll get between 1 and 2 counter as opposed to a guaranteed 2. Now the counter is nice because he's got the drain mechanic, so he'll get a portion of the health back when he does counter an attack, but is it worth the huge amount of materials required? I personally don't think so. For the ultimate, we have a skill called Good Fight, and this is actually good for getting a nice portion of health back on him. It can actually do decent damage as well. Now it takes 6 turns to charge, but it comes with 3 turns at the start of the fight. With this, you attack the primary target for 300% damage and you do 50% drain, so that's really pretty nice. And also you can chain up to 1 to 5 adjacent targets for 240% damage, and you have 50% drain in that as well. So if you add all that up, if he does chain to up to 6 different people with that drain, you'll be looking at a large portion of his health that he will get back there. Now regarding how high you want to take this, I would say max it out, because if you drop down to level 6 you actually lose 10% drain on the primary target attack and the chain, and you lose some damage on both of those attacks as well. So it is worthwhile maxing this out. Now with all the abilities covered, what we'll do next is we'll have a look at his synergies. For the synergies here then, we've got some that are quite obvious that you would want to use. We've got others that can help make up for any deficiencies in his kit, and then we have a really interesting one that Alliance mate Rain managed to discover today, and this one's really fantastic. But we'll look at the most obvious ones first. So if you pair him up with Guardians of the Galaxy members Gamora and Star-Lord, you can get extra crit hit rating from Gamora. If you can crit, that can mean a higher drain, and then Star-Lord has a chance of giving him energy, which means that taunt can come up higher as well. Next up, I'm actually going to skip Doctor Strange for now, and I'll go to Black Widow and Merc Lieutenant. If they can give him speed up, it pulls his speed up to D, and this is round about the rating I prefer a tank to have, so he's not too slow if he does get stunned or slowed down. Now regarding Doctor Strange, this is pretty awesome. So we know Doctor Strange has the ability for a guaranteed revive, if we think back to the last video when I covered him. Now if he's paired up with Drax and Drax gets downed and he brings him back, he actually brings back Drax with his taunt and up to 50% health as well, so he gets that auto taunt at the start, so it really is pretty nice, and I imagine it could completely throw any plans the opposition has into disarray when this does happen. So really interesting that. Now next up anyway, we will check out the enemies that you want to avoid going up against when you're playing as Drax. Characters that can give Drax a bit of trouble then would include Quake and Black Widow. Now the reason for that is they have slow and stun. Now it's all about when they use their skills though, because if they use these when his taunt's up and their team doesn't have any cleanse, then they're stuck attacking him because he won't be moving, and that's the ideal situation. But if you have someone, let's say you have Elektra in that team as well, she'll start off pretty quick in the battle, she can remove his taunt and then he can be stunned or slowed, and then he is in trouble. Now another combination of characters you want to look out for, and personally whenever I see Drax in arena, I'll only ever take on that particular team if I do have 2 cleanse characters to actually remove the auto taunt to start off with, and then to remove the next taunt. If not, you're really going to be in trouble, and once or twice I went into a match with only 1 cleanse and I've ended up getting beaten as a result of it, because Drax can take an absolute ton of damage. Now with all that covered anyway, what we'll do next is we'll see where he'll sit in the tier list. For this tier system then here we have 5 different ratings, the most powerful one being a Mega, see that on the left hand side, and as we work our way from left to right the characters get progressively weaker until we're way down at level 1, and this is characters you really want to avoid using even if you're a fan of them. Now in regards to Drax's rating, I would say that he's an alpha rating character. Now the reason for that, you've got that double taunt, so you've got the taunt when he spawns and then you've got the taunt on his special skill as well, and this is what really makes him strong as a tank. If he didn't have this, he would really be quite bog standard, and would actually be quite similar to Hulk with the low attack speed and low resistance, but this double taunt really does help him out a lot. Now he also has the drain, which is on his attacking skills, the basic and the ultimate, but if we think back to the special, when we looked at that, on the taunt he gains counter, so that means that he can actually get drain if he counters an attack. The downsides he has are minimal, but I would say they're enough to actually keep him off the mega spot, and it's a low resistance, meaning that if his taunt is removed he can easily be stunned or slowed down, and it's the very low attack speed that you really need somebody to speed him up to get him into that decent area where he's not too slow and not too fast. Now for the next video anyway, I'll be looking at either Iron Man or Luke Cage, so let me know in the comments below who you would like me to actually cover first, and thanks for tuning in for another one of these videos. I'm looking forward to the comments, they're always very interesting, and I'll see you all again soon.